Alright, I'm getting ready to fill in this hole here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rough this area up. Still got to clean it, but I'm going to rough all this area up around it with the 60 grit disc here. Just get all this rough where I can get some good tooth in it. And then I'm going to spray it with the plastics adhesion promoter. And normally what I do is I take some drywall repair screen and use this as reinforcement. What I'll do is I'll put down a layer of adhesive around this just to get it tacky. And then I'll lay a piece of this over the hole. That way the adhesive I'm going to use can bridge across that. I can build it up in this screen, and that'll also reinforce it. Once it's cured, it'll have these fiberglass filaments running through it to keep it from cracking if it flexes. So I'll put that on the back side. I'm going to put some aluminum tape on the back here just to catch everything that comes through, but I want it to go through these holes so that I can grind it down in the back and then rebond some more adhesive on the front to what's coming through from the back. We'll go ahead and grind this out and get the adhesion promoter put on it. It's got to sit for 10 or 15 minutes. And then I'll get some adhesive and smear some out, put some of this in, and then build it up fairly thick over that patch, just to fill in that hole. Okay, I've got my aluminum tape on the back. Just to stop it, I've got a piece of screen there ready to go. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on that area, just spread it out to get it to bite into the teeth of the grinder marks. We'll go ahead and fill up these small holes, push it through to the other side, put some in here. Most of this will get ground off the other side, but I'm just going to fill it in. I'm going to spread that out. Sort of stay within the area that I put the grinder on it. I'll work that in. I don't want to touch it because then it'll stick to my hand and probably pull it back out. I'm going to be careful when I pull this. I don't want to pull the screen back towards me. I can sort of see where I am with the outline of that hole. I'm just going to get it to where it's bridged over and smooth, and I'm going to add a little bit more to it. I'm doing this on the floor just so the bumper stays in the straight position. I don't want to have it twisted or turned in any funny angle when I put this on here. It's the way it's going to sit on the car. It's the way it needs to be repaired. Alright, that ought to be enough. I want to bury that screen in this adhesive. I don't really want to see it. Might not be able to completely bury it, but that's kind of the goal. That way I know I've got it thick enough if I can't see that. Only got about a 3 or 4 minute work time anyway, so I'm going to leave it right there. I think that'll be good. Put that set up and I'll go through the back side, pull the tape off, the aluminum tape, then I'll start grinding it flush. I'm going to go a little bit low on the outside so I have a little bit of a dish out to fill in. That'll be the next thing. I think I forgot to show you, this is 3M 8223 universal adhesive. They make a clear one that's a little bit runnier. This is a 3-minute work time. It says 30-minute clamp time, 4-hour cure. I'll let it sit overnight and come back and grind the outside down and get the outside ready to fill. That should have that taken care of as far as structure part of it, filling the hole in. Once it sets up, I'll pull that tape off on the back. I don't want to pull it now, it'll just pull it all through the hole. Alright, I've pulled the aluminum tape off the outside. This is what I'm left with. So I'm going to go ahead and grind all this down till I'm back down to what it'll basically look like that on all the other holes. Then I'll have this surface just a little bit lower than the surrounding surface, and I'll go ahead and put the Cosmetic Repair on the outside. It's not real thick, but I've got to go through this to get it just low enough to where it's lower than this out here, and I can put just a skim coat of Cosmetic Repair over that, and that'll have this pretty much done. The rest of it's just going to be feathering out areas where the paint's cracked through here. There's really no other damage. Paint's cracked here. I think there's some other places underneath. But I'll just have to feather all that out, like right in here. Get it all back down to something that's not cracked, and get it primed. But main thing is getting this on here so the filler can harden up, and I'll get that done. And then while I'm sanding all the rest of that out, it can be hardening up, and I'll come back and sand this down and block it and put some primer on the whole bumper. Alright, I've got it ground down, and I took the grinder marks out with 80 grit, so it's 80 from about here all the way out to like right in there somewhere. I'm going to give it a shot of this adhesion promoter so I can get ready to put the 3M 5887 over the top. There's one spot in this little piece of trim for the spoiler that I need to fill, so I'm going to go ahead and just put some of that in this while I've got it out. I could use body filler there or this. Give it a light coat of that. In about 5 minutes, I'll come back with a little bit wetter coat, and then it needs 15 minutes before I can apply the filler. But it's pretty warm in here, so I can probably cut that down to about 10. Be right back with the filler. I'm going to keep working this, and I'll come back when I got it finished out. Alright, filler's on. Don't know that I'll need a second layer. We'll see. Just see how it blocks out. If I can get it flat. Can't build this stuff up too thick because it'll start to sag and run everywhere. But there ought to be enough there that I should be close. Got a little bit in that chip there. I'll come back and block it off. May just run the sander over it. These parts will get primed along with this front air dam here. And I'll probably just do those three together. I've got a couple other pieces I need to do, but they're not quite ready yet for primer. I'll get these done. That way they can be primed and curing while I get the other ones ready. And then these will be ready to paint. I want to let these set up for at least a week or two in primer just to get it nice and cured out where I don't get any shrink back. Alright, I went ahead and sanded out the filler I had in this chip right here in the spoiler. And everything else is sanded out in 180. And then I went back over it with 400 just to refine that a little bit. Went around the edges with a Scotch-Brite. Going to get 3 coats of primer on this. I also prepped one of the rocker panels. Just sanded through where all the paint was cracked and flaking off. Really didn't have to do any repair work here as far as filler goes. The other one will need the similar treatment, but also 2 of the holes, these 2 in the middle, One's broken and one's part of this is missing. I'm only going to prime down to about right in here, just right past this visible edge. And I'm going to put one solid coat over it and come back with a couple of spots in here, like right in here. Need a second coat, but I'm not going to put 3 coats. I don't want to build too much primer up in these grooves. So I'll end up getting 3 coats on the ends where most of the damage was, where they flexed a lot. And I had to feather back several layers of paint, but like right in here I'll get 3 coats, but I'm not going to fill the entire strip here with 3 coats of primer. There's no real need for it. I don't want to build it up too thick in there. We'll prime this and this with the front valance. I don't have the rear one done yet. That's the one I just filled over here. Haven't got that ready yet, but I'm going to do the front one with these 3 pieces, and I'll prime those 2 panels on the M5 with it. So that'll be the next thing. I get some primer on this.